Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where last time we finished the first area of Ultima Thul, the Dragon Domain, and we're about to leave. And we lost another hero, Estinian, now deals with the dragons, so we can continue onward. Or the dragon's despair, rather. The wind has stayed the fog that covered that island, and the air, it no longer feels quite so stifling. As by the beating of mighty wings does wind blow, where dragons may never again touch the sky, he and the shade he bore shall soar free. If I had known this place would claim Estinian too, No. Now it's what had to be done. Must this always be the price paid for safe passage? Look there, the wind! This is Estinian's doing, I'm sure of it. We should ride its flow and see where it leads. A powerful gale has delivered you to another island. The other science should arrive before long. He did it. He found a way forward for us. Uh-huh. The dragons remain trapped within a prison of their own making, lamenting the horrors of war. Yet Estinian knew them better than most. He was a man of honor and a dear friend, willing to fight to the very end for what he believed was right. And he's still fighting Alphino, just like Thancred. The sacrifices are why we can survive here, but we still have a chance to stop her. Even in spirit, they're unwilling to give in to despair, and we mustn't either. Alice is right. We must press on, for their sake. A test of will. It's finished. We have to keep going. Even if Estinian isn't here to see it, I'm sure Alphino wouldn't want to disappoint him. Though it pains me to say it, we can ill afford to stop and grieve for our comrades' passing. No, there will be time enough after. No choice have we but to march onward, lest we squander their noble sacrifices. To feign bravery with bold words is a simple matter, but without the strength of will to match, we are powerless against dynamis. Not less than unshakable conviction will suffice, which makes me question if I'm up to the task. Oh, Graham. Roads paved by sacrifice, I think? As the Stoll and Alice said, we must continue. Notice a change in our surroundings? Perhaps this is the memory of an altogether different world. It would be prudent to learn more of it then. Tread carefully lest we lose our footing in this sand. Sand. Sand everywhere. If not for the light emitted by these glyphs, I might as well overlook this monolith. Another seemingly barren world. For mercy, the air is nowhere near as stale, but still quite dry, and the scent will no doubt prove bothersome in due time. If you are worried about my vision, you needn't be. I can still see quite well. Were it not for the violet crystal embedded in its surface, it would appear as ordinary stone. A curious script has been etched upon them. Alas, it's not a language with which I am familiar. I cannot say I recognize it either. Nor I. The dragons, from what I recall, preserve their knowledge in song and eschew the written word entirely, so we may assume that this is the work of another race, one we have yet to encounter. Meteor claimed the dragon world suffered a slow death, seeking the release of oblivion. What life we find here, like as not, doth wend its way toward a similar end. What do you suppose that is over there? The tower? Or what it is? I'm not sure. It's hard to make out at the distance, but its surface seems to be of the same crystals as this monument. Meaning there's a chance we may find whoever built them both. We should go and have a look. Come on! The other one. Ghostly figure? Let me quickly go up the tower. And our first ether current. There were none in the dragon zone because the wind in that zone was halted. Ow. Hail, travelers! This is a most unexpected occurrence. Hello there. Is this your home? Indeed it is. Forgive me, I had forgotten. An exchange of introductions is expected in first meeting those with whom one is unacquainted. Plop. The vibration of vocal cords was still required to convey our thoughts and intentions. Air, I believe, was the pronunciation used when referring to our people. Though it is not entirely applicable given our present state, you are welcome to use this appellation. As for nomenclature to address my individual person, I believe it would be pronounced Kofkutku. Yes, Kofkutku of the air. We have encountered beings that communicate intermittently through thought, but never one that was wholly without voice. I presume we are having this conversation via the medium of ether, or dynamis, as this space is sufficed with vast quantities of it. Fascinating in either case. I gather your response to my presence is positive then? That is well, for there is something I wish to ask of you. Like ourselves, we are ether-based life forms, therefore it may be surmised that your bodies are of comparable biological composition to those we once possessed. I have a number of queries regarding your subjective perception of our five senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. In total, I have prepared 198,712,180,827. That's a lot of questions. That's rather a lot, isn't it? My apologies, I have omitted a great many details necessary to understand the nature of my request. Though we dispensed with our corporeal vessels long ago, we have rediscovered a need for the flesh, and have endeavored to recreate our erstwhile forms. However, all pertinent records have been lost due to the passage of time. Take, for example, the nervous system. It is well within our power to recreate, but we have no frame of reference for sensations once experienced by our people, which may compromise our ability to interact with our physical environment. And the reason you need to regain corporeal forms? Why, to bring an end to our existence, of course. Though need is perhaps too strong a word. It would be a simple matter to unmake ourselves through use of etheric exsanguinators, but such a death seems inadequate. The traditionalists among us believe proper death requires an inescapable sense of impermanence in one's final moments, an experience found only with bodies of flesh. We should very much like to hear more of your plans. In exchange, we will answer any questions you have to the best of our ability. Such an exchange of information would indeed prove useful. Very well, to ensure a efficacious exchange, I hereby invite you to our home. Yes, the abode of the air, where we traditionalists prepare for our demise. I presume your consent to answer questions is indicative of a tacit approval of our plans, in which case your cooperation is greatly appreciated. I must caution you, however, to be mindful of the air wandering the desert. The desire of bodies of flesh would be described as overzealous. Now, if you would follow me. This is going rather smoothly. Not that I'm complaining, mind. Even so, we mustn't forget their aim is oblivion, much like our dragons. Though I fail to see why a civilization so seemingly advanced would choose to unmake all they have created. At any rate, we will find no answer dallying here. Let us be on our way. They said there would be others, but I don't know what I was expecting. Something tells me we have different definitions of the word abode. The Isle of Dragons was shrouded in the silence of the dead, yet the stillness here does suggest the air are, by and large, merely sleeping. More violet-colored crystals. I cannot place my finger on it, but there's something unsettling about them. I should not be surprised the concept of a village is so different from ours, and yet... Welcome to our abode. Most of our compeers you will find remain idle in their domiciles. Though your quizzical expressions indicate my phrasing is unclear. I speak of course of a violet crystalline construct hanging from the stone structures here. You say they remain idle, but what of your work to regain corporeal bodies? An astute question, and understandable given your finite nature. We have no desire to pursue our research, for it is no longer necessary. If in our idleness we are struck by sudden inspiration, we rise to pursue said inspiration to its conclusion. That is why I was present for your arrival, and I continue to engage with you still. But while the others are not currently in a motile state, rest assured we would not object were you to disturb their respite. You need only cast your thoughts toward one of the crystalline domiciles to communicate. Okay. You should elect not to emerge. You need just cast your thoughts to the crystals to communicate with the air within. You cast your thoughts toward the crystalline domicile, but there's no response. You wish to speak? Very well. Pray, a moment, if you would. I suppose there is a logic to creatures comprised of spiritual energy utilizing crystals as living spaces, but it is nevertheless surprising to see.
Why we seek our end, you ask? If you wish to know, I will tell you. Just a moment, I must remember. What form did I take when last I emerged?
You are an Aetheryte? Despite my best efforts, mine overtures have elicited no response from this crystal. I can but assume its residents sleep as most soundly. Or so I hope. Yeah, we found one of those as well. If I heard correctly, the air within this crystal says it will emerge from within shortly. Do you suppose they all appear as Kut does?
A strange moaning comes and goes, but soon fades into silence. Did your inquiries yield satisfactory responses? I see. If I fail to answer them, it is likely because their minds have unraveled due to prolonged idleness. They are not concentrated air for now. For not, there are no others who have need of these lodgings, and they will not prove a hindrance to remain as they are. But more importantly, you said some few did answer your request for an audience, yes? I imagine they will be with us ere long.
Flesh abandoned? I had no luck, but everyone else fared well enough. Quite a few air have awakened.
Ah, there they are. May I introduce to you Lalak, Devdek, and Nenedg. It has been too long, Kofkut. I dare say Salafia has since completed an orbit. Indeed, until the travelers brought it to my attention, I had noticed how unraveled some had become. Travelers? Ah, of course. Ones who wish to know why we seek to regain corporeal form. The truth of the matter is plain to see as the neighboring systems, but my single account would fail to satisfy the requirement for scientific objectivity. Mustn't I bid them awaken you?
Am I the only one who struggles to tell who is speaking? Nay, thou art not. In the absence of corporeal forms and divergence they have thought, mayhap such similarity in voice is unavoidable?
I'm awake, Kofkut. Have you already observed the crystal custom for the travelers? That which one is expected to do when receiving guests, a matter of proper form? Oh yes, so long as it had completely escaped my mind, it still does. What was it again? I can't seem to remember. Neither do I, pity. I was hoping you would. Perhaps we can search the archives of the answer? Come now, Ned. The archives has long been frozen, lest we subject ourselves to further the law. Surely you recall that much? Ah, of course, food! The custom is to serve food! Beings of flesh such as they must regularly replenish their ether. By contributing to their replenishment, we communicate our friendly intentions. That's right! We duly invite you to join us in communal repast, after which we may engage in leisurely conversation. If we have a chance to learn something, then I see no reason to decline. Excellent. If you care to follow, we shall feast you on the purest ether. I think that I forgot what to become of the archives. How much has my essence deteriorated since Master was awake? Not that I'm averse to having my mind fade away in this manner. It's so unlike the natural degradation of one's flesh. How delightful! Throughout the universe, but few races have completely shed their flesh as we have. As a result, we seldom receive visitors from other systems. Extreme differences can inhibit meaningful interactions, you see, and none more so than those which affect communication. Most entities, for example, cannot even comprehend our words. You are aware indeed in your ability to do so. You avail yourself of dynamis, yes? It's an impressive application, even if it's ultimately pointless, like all the rest. How much air would be adequate for your kind, I wonder? As I recall, there's a fine line between optimal satiation and violent sickness. This facility is to replenish our ether. There's no particular name for it, but we traditionalists sometimes use the word restaurant. Now then, if you would take your place with your comrades, the space will soon be awash with purest ether. Please absorb as much as you like.
We were told to stand wherever we like. This strikes me as less of a meal and more a ritual. Judging by the construction of this facility, it would seem the air directly draw upon the ether. Ether, they said, but I can't help but feel a bit nervous. If they are thus able to replenish their ether, the loss of vital sustenance isn't like to be the cause of their demise. If it is as I suspect, this so-called feast. Actually, let's just see for ourselves. We are not like to come to harm. You brace yourself for a rush of sweet, sweet ether, but nothing seems to happen. Perhaps you need to wait a little longer? You brace yourself again, but again, nothing seems to happen. Just as I had suspected. As meticulously as one might recreate the air's homeworld, this is Ultima Thul. One cannot simply generate ether here. As recreations, our friends are oblivious to this fact, to the very truth of their existence, much like the phantoms of a recreated Amaranth. However appearance may seem, we must ever be mindful that it is the memories of the dead with whom we deal.
So, did you have your fill of ether?
Alas, we couldn't absorb it. A deficiency in our forms, it would seem.
Oh, how very unfortunate. May I ask how you normally replenish your ether?
Food.
Oh. For your mouth, you say? Very primitive and quaint. tipping their mouths serve not only to expel sound but to draw in sustenance besides. Such life forms have long since vanished from our systems.
Though we regrettably could not partake of your magnificent feast, rest assured we feel your welcome most keenly. In course of acquainting ourselves with your sophisticated ways, however, we could not fail but wonder, wherefore do you wish to obtain vessels of flesh and thence to vanish? Will you not favor us with an explanation?
Your flesh and blood beings are always so hasty. It does have its charms, however. Very well, we shall indulge you. In the beginning, when the air yet possessed corporeal bodies, our ancestors dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement. By transcending all limitations, we believed we would eliminate sorrow and abide in true happiness. From the tangible such as land to the intangible such as labor, there exist myriad hindrances to progress. But the most confining of all was the flesh itself. Our natural lifespans was distressingly middling, you see. Too short to enjoy unhurried lives, yet too long to be considered disposable. Furthermore, to simply maintain the integrity of our bodies demanded considerable resources. But we managed to solve this problem. After long years, we discovered how to become incorporeal entities with everlasting lives, untroubled by the failures of the flesh. Thus changed, we had more time and freedom to continue our scientific pursuits. We went on to make ever greater strides in our quest to transcend all limitations, until we finally decided to challenge the last of them all, the limit of knowledge. That is to say, deciphering the laws of creation. We sought to discover how the universe came into being and explain all extant phenomena and thence predict the future. If we could but achieve this, we believed that we would be free from uncertainty and anxiety.
And did you find the answers you sought?
Yes, we did. Our efforts revealed to us a fundamental truth. Knowledge of said truth is essential for the continuation of our conversation. If you would learn more, we will share it with you. No, we mustn't. Primitive as we are, it would be unspeakably cruel to deprive them of their ignorance. They are possessed of corporeal forms. Their lives readily ended. As those who have gone before, is it not our duty to warn them?
What thinkest thou?
We have deliberated and come to a consensus. If you are resolved to know it, we will disclose to you the truth we discovered. The truth of the universe. Seek us at the stone pillars just outside the bounds of the abode, a place called Elegaia.
Like your master, Y'shtola seeketh the truth of creation. How will the truth of the air, who uncovered all only to desire the end, fall upon her ears? To define the laws of creation would have been no small feat even for the air. Nay, having eternal life and hence no sense of haste would only have made it harder. Such tremendous drive for knowledge they once must have had, and I struggle to reconcile with the listless beings before us. Whatever answers they found, it did not bring them happiness. You may be intimately familiar with a problem, know it like the back of your hand, yet be powerless to solve it. In the course of my struggles, I've often been made keenly aware of this fact. I wonder, have the Aya never felt the same frustration? 'Tis true that a lack of knowledge can beget fear, wherefore in theory, by acquiring all knowledge, it may be possible to attain peace. But as Heideland told us, all those people who attempted to free their worlds from life's woes met with failure. And the heir are among them, as their presence here attests. The tale we are about to hear will not be a happy one. A fundamental truth. We will hear it, of course. Let us learn what has led such an enlightened people to this indolent end. Before we hear the climax of the heir's tale, maybe I should speak of... On second thought, it would only be a distraction. We'll talk more when the time is right. Where knowledge leads. Ere we join the heir, there is one trifling matter I would fain investigate. Desiree Guard here, might I trouble you for your assistance? But of course. My thanks. We shall head outside of your abode, if you would kindly follow me. I know not what mischief you are plotting, Urianger, but I trust you have our best interests at heart. The rest of us shall go on ahead to Elegea. Lest you worry, we won't start without you. Go and assist Urianger with his mysterious task. We shall wait for you. There's naught but desert out there. What could Urianger wish to investigate? As long as Urianger explains himself to you, then I shall be satisfied. Do lend him an ear in my stead. A spring, and a sizable one at that. I hadn't noticed it among the dunes. Aye, this place shall serve. Is it the spring you wish to investigate? Pray forgive me, friends, but there's naught to investigate. It was but a pretense to speak in private. You have our undivided attention. As we have established here in Ultima Thul, those destinations of ruined stars are recreated in their twilight days. Yet one question does arise in my mind. So faithfully formed are the simulacra, they believe themselves yet among the living. How dost thou suppose this is possible? Meteion has taken their hearts unto herself. I'm inclined to agree. If Meteion can take the emotions of others as her own, I dare say she would be able to recreate them more faithfully than had she relied on any historical account. By which logic she must have visited them when they still lived. The dragons and the heir both. So too did I theorize, and upon that assumption, consider how those two races may have met their demise. According to thine own tale, Meteion perceives the emotions of those nearby as her own. A heightened sense of empathy intrinsic to her nature as an enteleki. In the course of her starfaring journey, if she encountered beings who strongly desired a cessation of her existence, she would be powerless before that desire. Even as she possesses the power to grant it. The power of dynamis. It's my supposition that, overwhelmed by their longing for death, Meteion did unleash dynamis and ushered the dragons and the air unto their doom. Of course, such was not always the outcome, for many stars did she find already lost to ruin. In order to create a terminus, however, the further desire for the end is essential. Therefore, should you struggle to find the way forward, pray ask yourself this. In the place where you stand, whose is the soul that yearneth most desperately for oblivion? Why do you tell us this now? Never again would I betray your trust. This pledge I did make unto my comrades. In bringing thee into my confidence, I would remain true to my word. As for thee, let us consider it my fitting reward for the secrets I harbored for the Crystal Exarch. I once placed my faith in thy chosen path, walking at thy side full knowing that we were bound for thy demise. I ask now that thou returnest with favour, and abide in faith as I fulfill mine own destiny. If you say my debt has come due, how am I to refuse? 'Tis indelicate of me, I know full well. I can but beg thy forgiveness. Yet even if I must needs go to such lengths, I cannot well feign ignorance of the answer I have found within. The answer to the question, in what moment might I stand strongest? After all we've been through, I will say only this. Do what you must. Do what you must, and see your conviction through. I shall, my friend. I shall. Without further ado then, let us go to join our comrades. Let us be off to Elegea. Don't mind me. Come, let us hear the Ayer's tale and learn what caused such enlightened beings to crave nihility. While we waited, we mentioned our star situation to the Ayer. They nodded sagely, or something to that effect. I understand you've taken care of business. If you are ready to begin, then so are we.
Be prepared for our accounting. To facilitate comprehension, the information will be simplified to match your primitive minds. Your companion informed the one called Stoller. She seems the keenest to learn the truth. I pity her. Oh, you're all here already. Your comment said you would be late. It would seem your star too has been plunged into a panic-induced cataclysm. We hope that our tale will not serve to exacerbate it.
It seems everyone is accounted for. Shall we then?
Please continue. Tell us about this truth you discovered.
Very well. Bear in mind, however, that the purpose of this conversation is not to impart scholarly knowledge, for such requires that you comprehend the subject matter, which you will not. We will forego the intricacies of our scientific methodology and deal only with the conclusion, the end of our society and our world. acknowledge, with regret, that your star is in the midst of the same panic-induced cataclysm that befell Deneb 3. As such, in order to avoid causing undue distress, we will refrain from explicitly stating how much time you have remaining.
You are entirely too kind. I pray you recount your tale as you see fit.
In the beginning, the universe was but a tiny particle. Then suddenly, this particle began to expand.
The Big Bang.
Having remained entirely in the bounds of your star, the phenomenon may be difficult for your kind to grasp. But this expansion has since continued unabated. Speculating that the universe could not grow indefinitely, we sought to learn what might occur, and made a worrying discovery. The stars will continue to spread apart, as will their finite thermal energies. Eventually, all heavenly bodies will grow cold and freeze. No new stars will be born, and the universe will enter onto an eternal ice age.
The heat death of a universe.
In hopes of proving that this determination was erroneous, we scrutinized our research from all angles, even as we sought to avert the everlasting winter. The endeavor proved fruitless. So infamously so, in fact, that it became synonymous with vain effort. The universe as we know it would end, and there is no way to prevent it. Beneath the weight of this knowledge, our society stagnated. Though we had time still, it was a cold comfort. Why strive for anything when desolation is assured? When our wealth of wisdom, accumulated since the dawning of our kind, would be forever lost. No civilization would rise from our ashes. No scholar recover our knowledge. In silence unbroken, naught would stir. Intellect was once our pride. Overnight, it became our shame. Our works, monuments to futility. Immortality, our greatest invention, became a source of suffering. Rather than suffer on, many chose to unmake themselves by means of etheric exsanguinators. Etched upon these stones are the testaments of such souls, though many left no words at all, thinking it a pointless gesture. Once we have obtained vessels of flesh, we likewise intend to vanish. If you understand this, understand aught of our tale, you will abandon your quest for knowledge. Ignorance truly is bliss. If you would cling to your illusory happiness, remain primitive and pure. It is the only way.
So that's your story. While I appreciate your advice, I will not heed it. Convinced though you may be of this truth, it is yours and not mine. Indeed, truth, I have ever believed is in the eye of the beholder.
Are you suggesting that we have reached a faulty conclusion? That our science failed us?
Hardly. As you yourself said, the subject matter is beyond my comprehension. And that, I accept, is true. I do not possess the knowledge to prove or disprove your conclusion. In my mortal years, I doubt I could even approach the wisdom of the Air. But of one thing am I absolutely certain. I would not be happier in ignorance.
Y'shtola, no! You mustn't!
The most important lesson I've learned is that learning isn't simply passing one's eyes over words. Nay, 'tis when understood for oneself that knowledge attains its true value. This is what has sustained me, driven me onward in joy and wonder, in anger and sorrow. The universe may end, and all may be for naught. But I will live as I always have. I will always seek out new knowledge. And no conclusion of yours, no matter how grim, can dampen my desire.
I suppose it is only to be expected. Their feeble minds cannot fathom the terrifying gravity of it all. But worry not. We consider it our duty to enlighten you, and we will not stop until you grasp the full extent of our despair.
Keep calm and listen well. Though my body will soon dissipate, there may be a way to restore it. Azim's magic. So long as our souls remain, you can use it to summon us back. But you mustn't, for it would mean losing our way forward. This I only reveal so that you can promise not to invoke the magic. We came here knowing what victory may cost, so press on. Press on, and do not look back.
I shall join thee. As subterfuge is not required, thou shalt not suffer for mine absence.
Ryanje.
My resolve hath never been as strong as thine. Full oft have I wavered in my decisions, and afterwards been stricken with regret. In spite of this, I may still stand with my comrades, supporting them as they attempt the greatest of feats. This truth I have learned in the course of our journey. And many though my shortcomings may be, I may also claim to excel in prophecies. My studies, into which have granted me the flexibility of mind needed to bend this malleable reality. Thus shall I hope that thou mayest have the strength to resist, and our comrades the strength to continue.
With you to urge us on, how could we possibly fail?
What's this? An extinguished civilization. Rekindled.
That's right. Our quest doesn't end here. We'll press on, and we will find you.
There. That's where you'll find me.
Is that another star?
Of the stars we visited, most were already devoid of life. And where there was life still, the inhabitants wished for death. But even death, we learned, isn't truly the end. It is but a part of the cycle of rebirth. Souls return to the star, or in its absence, a larger flow. And eventually they are reborn, alive again, to know suffering anew. True salvation lies not in dying. It lies in not being born. This is the gift I would give to you, to all life on beautiful Aetheris. To that end, we created an egg wherein life...
Cannot quicken.
Attain it if you can, before your friends' emotions fade away, along with their protection.
Where knowledge leads. Never have felt such emptiness. It's as if a part of me is gone. I'm fine, Desiree. Like I said, our quest doesn't end here. Alright, but my episode ends here. And next time we talk to Graha and look where whatever glowed there in the distance leads us. And then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.